Today is June 6, 2022, and murder is still a crime in every country that I can think of, be it voluntary or involuntary. Firearm deaths are known to be common in places like El Salvador, Guatemala, Mexico, Brazil and Colombia, where gang violence and drug trafficking are at their highest. But for decades the United States alone has had more firearm deaths than any other developed country in the world. We are barely 6 months into 2022, but so far America has witnessed over 240 cases of mass shootings causing over 308 deaths with plus 1,114 people wounded. This sounds to me like terrorism, but America hides it under the appellation gun violence. Incidents of gun violence happen almost every day in America. People are being terrorized by some individual carrying an assault rifle, be it a white supremacist, a gang member, a racist, or an angry teenager. There were over 67 such incidents in the month of May alone, with a total of 87 people killed and 324 wounded in the process. By the end of 2021, a total number of 336 Americans had lost their lives to gun violence, while 1,223 were injured. If we rewind a little further, in 2019, at least 441 people were killed, and in 2018 it was 322, making a total of 1,377 people killed in gun violence over a 4-year period. But Washington responded by doing nothing. When terrorists attacked a school in Afghanistan in 2021, Washington called it a senseless killing of innocent civilians. Although over 10 schools were attacked in America in 2020, but Washington did nothing to avoid its reoccurrence. More Americans have been killed by gun violence at home than in all its wars abroad. Be it the First World War, the Second World War, the Korean War, or the Vietnam War, but Washington seems to be doing nothing about its domestic terrorism. The reason for this is because the fault line is at home, and America does not want to acknowledge that. The Constitution of America gives every citizen the right to own and carry arms. As a result, today we have more weapons in the US than people. 393 million firearms for a population of 327 million people. Why do so many Americans need guns? In America, anyone above the age of 18 can buy a shotgun or a rifle, while anyone above the age of 21 can get handguns even without a license, as long as you pass the National Instant Background Check system, which takes less than 10 minutes. In many cases, this test fails to flag a criminal. Case in point, in 2017, 27-year-old Davin Patrick Kelly arrived at a Texas church wearing a black tactical gear, a ballistic vest, and a black face mask. He was carrying a Ruger AR-556 semi-automatic rifle and killed 2 people outside the church, got inside while Sunday service was ongoing, and methodically killed 25 worshippers, pausing only to reload his rifle. It was later discovered that Kelly shouldn't have been allowed to buy a gun because of his criminal record of domestic violence while serving in the Air Force. He was court-martialed, but the Air Force forgot to update that information into the FBI database, and because of that Eric Kelly ended up killing 27 people. So much for background checks. Every time there is a similar incident of gun terror, the American media downplays it by branding the terrorist a perpetrator. Then the authorities step in to either pin the blame on violent video games or point accusing fingers at mental health issues. What America has are weak gun laws, laws that allow easy access to arms, laws that allow a terrorist to fire a crowd from his hotel room and kill more than 30 people. By so doing, they've put millions of Americans in the line of fire and allowed the frequency of gun terrorism to surpass the total number of days on the calendar. If headlines like these were to come out of any other country, US media would have screamed human rights violation and not camouflaged it by labeling it a mass shooting. The White House would have cried genocide, issued lectures, slabbed sanctions, moved the United Nations. America would have rallied the world to get the country to ensure civilians drop arms. And dropping arms is the only logical thing for America to do, but this logic evades America when dealing with terror at home. African Americans account for just 13% of the US population, but they make up for 58.5% of lives lost to gun violence since 2018. 82% of black adults in the US say gun violence is a big problem in America, while only 39% of white adults agree. American leaders have failed to address this systemic discrimination. They have failed to protect their citizens and disarm domestic terrorists. When the US invaded Iraq in 2003, George Bush told Congress a military action was needed to disarm Iraq in pursuit of peace, stability, and security. But why can't the White House follow those same lines at home? In 2012, while speaking about the deployment of military personnel in Uganda, Obama said US combat-equipped military personnel are working to protect the local population, but what about protecting the locals at home first? After all, charity begins at home. In 2015, Obama mandated federal licenses and background checks for those dealing with firearms at gun shows or online, but that didn't bring any significant change to gun violence, nor did it check ghost weapons. When it comes to disarming armed groups and terrorists abroad, there is no limit to where America can go. It will condemn violence in Africa, it will call out human rights abuses in Russia and Ukraine, and it will show concern for Taiwan. But why can't they do the same at home? In America today, there is a bunch of choices when it comes to choosing firearms. You can buy handguns, large-capacity magazines, military-style rifles, assault weapons, and many more. If American civilians drop arms, how will companies like Maverick, Sturm, Smith & Wesson, which are worth $63.49 billion, survive? If the American president signs strict gun control laws, then how will they survive the political force of powerful gun lobbies like the National Rifle Association? What's playing out in America today is appeasement politics, and it is flowing from the barrel of a gun. This is America prioritizing gun rights over human rights, and the results look like this: gun terror at bars, concerts, schools, churches, supermarkets, and iconic places, just to name a few. On May 24, 19 schoolchildren and 2 teachers were shot and killed in an elementary school in Texas. If such incidents had happened anywhere else in the world, America would have been quick to issue a travel warning. But what is the White House doing to ensure the safety of thousands of students and tourists who travel to America every year? Today, 48% of Americans see gun violence as a very big problem in their country. There's been an 8% increase in gun violence since Joe Biden took office, even though he made a campaign promise to put an end to gun violence. In the wake of the Texas school shooting, Biden announced a no-tolerance policy which included tougher background checks, a call for a ban on assault weapons, high-capacity magazines, and boosting community policing. At a first look, these look like tough measures, but will they deliver any results? America needs strict gun laws. That's the simple solution. It needs political will, and the strength to face hard facts and undo historical wrongs. After all the lives lost to gun violence in America, it's obvious that the right to live and the right to bear firearms is very contradictory. They cannot coexist. It's high time America drops this gun hypocrisy for its safety. By the time you are done watching this video, there is a 90% probability that someone in America just got shot in a gun-related terror. Let us know what you think in the comment section, and please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Thanks for watching.